The Knicks, so we'll start with them. 3-6, dropped their 5th straight home game back on Saturday to Atlanta. And Frank, to me, the big issue is not the numbers, but the fact that their head coach and their all-star player question the effort in this game. And I think when you do that, that's a dangerous area.
Yeah, the Knicks are clearly frustrated. Remember last year, they got off to an 18-5 start. They've already lost 5 home games. In fact, 5 in a row. The Knicks are searching for answers. You know, it's interesting. They're playing poorly, but Carmelo Anthony is actually the one guy that is playing well. He's rebounding more than he has before. He's still scoring a lot. They're just not getting enough contributions from a lot of guys. Raymond Felton has struggled at point guard. Remember, J.R. Smith had knee surgery in July. He just came back after the 5-game suspension. So last year had a different feel to it in a number of ways. And this team right now just isn't on the same page. I still think they need to figure out a rotation. And a big thing also is leadership. Last year they filled out their roster, especially the end of the roster, with veteran type of players. They missed those guys a lot this year.
Sekou, I want to pick that up. You were talking about the fact that you questioned really the makeup of this team and who would be a voice if things do go south for the Knicks.
Well, that's the toughest part. I think Frank nailed it. You know, Jason Kidd was in that locker room last year. Kurt Thomas was a very underrated leader, locker room leader, did so for several teams over the course of his career. When you don't have those guys in that position, you take them away from the fabric of that team. You leave it up to other guys. Carmelo Anthony has to step up and, you know, wear a different hat. Raymond Felton has to be a more vocal leader. J.R. Smith has to be one of your leaders in your locker room. When Metta World Peace is the voice of reason in your locker room, I'm just saying that, you know, and I love Metta, but I'm saying that's not a traditional role that he's played throughout his career. He has to play that now for the Knicks.
David, overview of this Knicks team right now, and that includes, you know, counting on a guy like Amari Stoudemire, who may never be the same.
Well, that's my main question with the roster makeup, and I'm sure Frank has raised the question as well. You know, coming into the season, you're counting on Tyson Chandler to be your defensive kind of base, coming off of what he even said was a subpar year. And it just surprised me, Frank, that they didn't have a better plan B in case Chandler went down, which he has done, you know, with injury. You know, having these minute limits on Stoudemire, having a minute limit on Kenyon Martin, I'm just surprised they didn't have a legitimate backup big man that they could go to in case Chandler got hurt that could play more than 15, 20 minutes at a time if they needed him.
Frank, moving on and looking ahead to summer, is this enough? If the Knicks are bad this year, would that be enough to perhaps push Melo out and have him seek something else this summer?
You know, I think it's such a different NBA now. You know, to be honest with you, I never thought LeBron would leave, but these guys, they all leave. They join forces. I would not be shocked if he left. I still think he's going to stay because he can get $30 million more. But it's interesting about the Knicks, and David brought up a great point about Tyson Chandler, who right now is down. The problem is the Knicks ended last season. Rasheed Wallace had to retire because of a foot injury. They cut Kurt Thomas because of a foot injury. Marcus Camby wasn't playing. And then Jason Kidd. Everyone wants to talk about Jason Kidd missing his last 18, 19 shots, whatever it was. Jason Kidd provided leadership in that locker room. It's no coincidence. Carmelo Anthony, top 3 finish in MVP voting, career year. Same thing with J.R. Smith. I think Jason Kidd had a lot to do with that.